misusing government-funded dollars. The RCMP is investigating. Briar Stewart has more.
A child needs stability. A child needs support. That's what the agency should be there for.
Byron Uzicby says he wanted to help change the lives of children. He grew up in foster homes and knows the difference care can make in a child's life. He got a job working with computers at the Yorkton Tribal Council Child and Family Services. But while working in the office, he says he felt that children weren't always the first priority.
I knew, as the rest of the staff knew, that there was an underlying feeling there, knowing that upper management always had the last call and the first right to anything and everything.
The agency is run by the Yorkton Tribal Council. It manages child and family services for 10 First Nations, things like foster care for more than 300 children. It gets more than $5 million a year from the federal government. Financial documents obtained by CBC News show the executive director was paid more than $5,000 while campaigning for office with the Federation of Saskatchewan Indian Nations. Receiving money while campaigning is against the agency's policy. Uzicby helped present the information to a chief on the tribal council. He was fired a few weeks later. Before being let go, he made a copy of the records and went to the RCMP, who have decided to conduct their own investigation. Raymond Shingoose is executive director of the Yorkton Tribal Council Child and Family Services Agency. He admits there have been problems, but says it's now conducting its own internal review.
Like I said, there has been some violations that occurred. I cannot speak to it. There is a process in place to review those, and I'm going to let that take its course.
This is, bigger than an internal review. I mean, there's a lot of allegations going on there, and putting you at the center of it. I mean, we're talking a police investigation even.
Like I said, if there's any wrongdoings there, it'll be reported to the correct authorities.
How are people supposed to believe that you're going to turn over a review that casts you in a negative light?
I'm confident the review will speak to that.
Uzicby says an internal review may be a first step, but he says he wants to see management held accountable. He says he went to the RCMP because he believes in the work that the agency does, and he doesn't want to see the services suffer.
Going through the foster parent training helped me understand, well, what the agency's doing and myself. I was in foster care. We didn't have anything like this when I was at that age where I could be in foster, or when I was in foster care. And I'm happy to be part of this. This is supposed to be for our children, for a better lifestyle, a better, I don't know.
The agency doesn't know when the internal review will be complete, or even if its findings will be made public. The RCMP continues to look into the matter. Briar Stewart, CBC News, Yorkton.
In Ottawa, there were tough questions as well over kids. Legislature today. The opposition has questions about this place, the Yorkton Tribal Council Child and Family Services, an agency that helps children. There are allegations of mismanagement of taxpayers' money at the agency. The Saskatchewan Party wants to know who in the government knew about this and when. The government says proper steps are being taken.
It's important to note that this is a third party that has a responsibility to 10 First Nations. They have asked us to help improve accountability. We will assist in every way, shape, or form that we can.
And as we mentioned in our story yesterday, the RCMP is investigating the matter. The United States
Resources. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. I can inform the Assembly that the Yorkton Tribal Council contacted our department. Many people don't realize that the Yorkton Tribal Council provides services to 10 First Nations in child and family services. We are one of the partners with the Yorkton Tribal Council. I believe we have a $300,000 agreement, a service agreement with them. And the Yorkton Tribal Council contacted us to work with them in terms of looking through how their business practices were and looking for any type of financial challenges and so on and so forth. Mr. Speaker, it should be noted, according to many of the media, that the Yorkton Tribal Council gets approximately $5 million from the federal government. That is their primary focus. They work with many First Nations, but they do have a partnership with us. It is important to point out that they contacted us to help them solve some of the challenges that they may have, and we're going through an intensive look at how they're doing business and the success of the Yorkton Tribal Council.
Member for Saskatoon, Southeast.
Speaker, we've been informed that the Deputy Premier met with Byron Uzicby at his Yorkton office January 19th of this year. Mr. Speaker, Byron Yusakabi was dismissed from the Yorkton Tribal Child and Family Services Agency January 4th. He went to visit the RCMP 1 week later. Now he's making some very public and troubling allegations about financial allegations. Mr. Speaker, did the Deputy Premier meet with Byron Yusakabi on January 19th, and what did Mr. Yusakabi tell him on that date?
Chair recognizes the Minister of Community Resources.
Speaker, it is very, very important that we allow the process to proceed. As that member fancies himself a lawyer, there are many, many allegations made against many, many people. And it is important to take the allegations seriously, but allegations are allowed due process. And Mr. Speaker, the important thing to point out here is that while the vast majority of the Yorkton Tribal Council work is with the federal government, we do have partnerships. And it is the Yorkton Tribal Council that approached us and asked us, could you help us solve our problems and go through the process of making sure that we do an audit to make sure our performance is there and so on and so forth. In fact, Mr. Speaker, it's important to note that this is a third party that has a responsibility to 10 First Nations. They have asked us to help improve accountability. We will assist in every way, shape, or form that we can. Thank you.
Member for Saskatoon Southeast.
Mr. Speaker, my questions are for the Deputy Premier. We want to know what happened in that meeting, if that meeting took place, what information Mr. Yusakabi gave the Deputy Premier, what his responses were, what undertakings the Deputy Premier made to Mr. Yusakabi, and what came out of that meeting as a result of that meeting. What steps did that Deputy Premier make?
Minister of Community Resources.
Mr. Speaker, once again, as I pointed out, there are probably thousands of accusations made and allegations made every year. There are many, many allegations made. The appropriate response is to put it through the proper process and to ensure that you have a timely process to investigate all the allegations. Mr. Speaker, I'll point out again that the Yorkton Tribal Council showed leadership in asking for our participation, even though we're 1/5 of the partnership that they have with the federal government. They are responsible to 10 First Nations on Indian and Family Services. That is their true partnership in terms of working with many of these First Nations. So I'll point out again, they had a problem. They came to us to help them go through intensive look at how they do business, the progress that they've made. And Mr. Speaker, they should be commended for that, even though we're a small partner in the big scheme of things. Mr. Speaker, that shows leadership.
Member for Saskatoon Southeast.
Mr. Speaker, one thing we agree with the Minister is the good work that's being done by that agency. Unfortunately, there's some allegations of fraud and things that took place in that agency, and we have questions to the Deputy Premier about a meeting that took place. Will the Deputy Premier admit whether a meeting took place? Will he tell us what went on in that meeting? Will he tell us what advice he gave Mr. Yusakabi? Mr. Yusakabi states he did not receive follow-up after he came to the Deputy Premier with information. He states he did not receive a letter from the Deputy Premier. He has no idea whether his allegations were discussed any further. He has no idea whether those allegations were addressed in any fashion. Mr. Speaker, what steps did the Deputy Premier or any of his Cabinet colleagues take to examine these allegations or deal with this matter? Thank you.
Chair recognizes the Minister of Community Resources.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'll point out again, Mr. Speaker, that one of the things that's so very important in the hallmark of this government is the fact that we had a lot of financial mess to clean up when we assumed government. We had to pay down a whole whack of debt, Mr. Speaker, and we are making good progress on that. Now we have to make sure that in the whole process of rebuilding Saskatchewan left by that conservative mess over there, that we have quite a bit of work that we need to do. So I'll point out when the Minister of Finance put in all the internal controls and to ensure that we strengthen the accountability of this government, we did that. And that example, Mr. Speaker, is certainly being spread out throughout Saskatchewan, and many groups are looking at us for leadership, and we'll provide that leadership. In this instance, the Yorkton Tribal Council asked for our assistance. We will work very clearly to see if there's any truth to the allegations. But, Mr. Speaker, any allegation received by any member of this Assembly, there is a process and there is time to investigate, and we are doing that work, Mr. Speaker.
This has been a rebroadcast of statements by members and